Today we're joined by Nathaniel Hughes, who is our athletic director and basketball coach. Today we just want to get to know a little bit about you and a little bit more about your role at Buff.
All right, sweet. So, obviously my title is the athletic director and head men's basketball coach, but I think the most important thing that I get the opportunity to do on a weekly basis is to interact with our coaches, because I think at the core of our athletic program is our coaches. And, we're blessed to have a lot of great coaches here who are godly, who know the game that they're coaching, who have experience, and who really have a passion to disciple their athletes, develop them, and help them display excellence on the field and the court. And so I view that as kind of my most important role, is to making sure my coaches are taken care of, to be an encouragement to them. And then, as far as, the coaching role goes, obviously prioritizing the health and development of my athletes too on my basketball team. And so, it's a unique position, and I'm excited about it because I think the university here is doing a great thing by starting athletics. It's an important part to the college experience, and really it's an important part in shaping young people. I believe we have such a great opportunity here at Buff to really use the platform of athletics to pour into these young men and women. So
how did you get your start?
Yeah, so I got started honestly in coaching pretty young. My senior year of high school was the first time I really recognized that I wanted to go into coaching. So our headmaster and athletic director gave me the opportunity to coach a 5th and 6th grade basketball team as a senior in high school, and you were my assistant, so that was fun. But, when I went to college, I went to Cedarville University, a Division II program in Ohio, and I really got an opportunity to get hands-on experience there, working with the basketball program, recruiting, running individual workouts, attending coaches meetings, scouting, game planning, all of those types of things. And that was really a huge learning experience for me, and it really equipped me a lot to deal with what I have to deal with today, because even in those coaches meetings, you're talking about athletic program-wide type things, whether that's, eligibility, or whether that is, facilities and taking care of it and things like that. And then, for the last 8 years, I've coached at the high school level and have run basketball programs of up to six teams, run leagues and tournaments and all kinds of things. And so all of that, I think, God has allowed me to experience those things for a reason and bringing me here to Buff. I'm really excited to see, how I continue to develop, because I certainly am not a finished product by any means, and I have a lot to learn. But I'm thankful for the, administration here and the other coaches, like I mentioned earlier, who really have been a huge help to me.
So why go from high school to college, and what led you to Buff, or what interests you about Buff?
I think when I was in college, I kind of debated, do I want to coach high school? Do I want to coach the college level? Because there's typically, two different paths you can take. And I chose at that time to go the high school route, and I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. And honestly, if you asked me a year and a half ago, if I'd be sitting here today, I'd say you were crazy because I didn't see this coming, right? But, God has a way of kind of pointing you towards the direction He wants you to go. And, this opportunity was one that I couldn't pass up, simply because I think, one, I was excited about the starting of something. And I kind of saw the vision of the school and the direction of the school, and it was something I wanted to be a part of. I mean, I truly believe that athletics is such an important part of the growth of young people. I know for me, my coaches were such a huge influence in my life, and that's honestly why I wanted to go into athletics to start with. And I know, the opportunity we have as college coaches, just like you do at the high school level, to really pour into young men and women. And so I don't think it really changes. Certainly the stage of life changes, but I don't think the opportunity to really pour into young people changes. And I also viewed it as an opportunity for me to grow professionally, and to challenge myself And honestly, with the leadership of Dr. Clower here, that also was a big reason that I bought in almost immediately to what we were doing here. And so I'm still excited, like I said, about the direction of the school. I know athletics is a part of that. And but yeah, I'm thankful. And I can honestly say it's a God thing that I'm where I'm at today, not because it was my plan, but because it was His. So that's my lengthy answer to your question there. But
you're now 3 for 3 on taking my next question. But what interests you about starting a program here at Buff? I know you talked about it a little bit, but what interests you about starting something that we haven't done before?
One of the things I enjoy the most about coaching, and when I was teaching, one of the things I enjoyed the most about teaching is seeing someone start, at a certain place and then grow and develop and grow and develop. And I think the same could also be said about an athletic program. So the school I was at prior to being here, they hadn't been to the playoffs for 9 consecutive years prior to me taking over. And so looking at building the program starts with building up young people. It's not just about going out and, being the most hardcore coach or yelling and screaming or, trying to recruit even the best players, although certainly we want to recruit good players. It's more so about helping them develop. And I love the process of development. And so now having the opportunity also to help my coaches grow, not that I know more than them, but giving them the tools and the resources as much as I can to grow and develop themselves is a big part of why this opportunity excited me, as well as obviously the coaching piece too.
Well, we just talked about the starting of a program there, but what is your vision for the future of the program?
Yeah, so certainly I think it all starts with doing what you do now with excellence. So I think Scripture's pretty clear on the principle there of being responsible, being excellent, and doing everything that you can to bring glory to God, even in the small things. And so that's my goal right now, is to compete. That's for all of our teams. Compete at a high level. And competing looks differently in year 1 versus year 3. But I think you start to build a name for yourself and a reputation for yourself when you step onto the court or onto the field or onto the diamond and you compete and you do things in a way that people notice that it's different. And so for me, one of the core things that I want our athletes to buy into is this idea of selflessness and really seeking the best for the team, not just for me. And but I think that leads to the answer of your question, which is down the road, what do I kind of envision is when we're excellent in the small things now, and I say small things, 6 sports isn't small, but as you begin to be successful and competitive in each of those 6 sports, you look to build on that. Whether that's 2 years from now or 3 years from now, adding new programs. I certainly envision us adding, 2 to 3 programs over the next 2 to 3 years. And, as we compete at a high level in the NCCAA, maybe even looking to some type of dual membership down the road within, still being a member of the NCCAA, but also maybe the NAIA or the NCAA. Just kind of depending on the direction the school wants to go with that. But honestly, I know that we plan to compete at a high level and then continue to grow. And a big piece of that is also going to be adding facilities. As we add facilities, we'll be able to do more, whether that's women's basketball and men's volleyball, whether that's soccer, whether that's, building a baseball and softball field here in the next year or so. And it just allows you, 1, to build your current program, but then 2, it allows you to invite the community in and maybe even offer different things in our facilities to outside people as well. And I think that that's a big part of what I want from our program, is us to reach into the community, to connect with high schools, middle schools, elementary schools, the city of Graceville and the surrounding area. I think it's an important part of using the platform of athletics to really be a positive influence.
Okay, lastly, and I asked this to the volleyball coach, but specifically to basketball, what
Sure.
are some things you're looking for in players that come here?
Yeah, I mentioned the selflessness thing earlier, and I think that that's a big part of what I look for is not just, obviously you want guys who are skilled, okay? You know, chances are if they don't know how to put the ball in the basket, it's hard to recruit them. I mean, and that looks different for different players, right? But, you know, whether that's an offensive putback, you know, every quarter, you know, offensive rebounding, getting buckets that way, drive to the rim, knocking down the open shot. They've got to be able to put the ball in the basket, you know. But to me, more so, it's the work ethic. It's the little things, because at the end of the day, when I talk to these young men that I have the opportunity to talk to in the recruiting process, it's what's going to separate you from somebody else who's your height, your weight, your speed. What is it? A lot of times it's the discipline, it's the work ethic, it's the, you know, like I said, the selfless attitude. It's not all about me. You know, I may defer to my teammates when it's their night, but I also know when it's my night. So it's that IQ as well, I think, is something I look for. And then, you know, lastly, kind of goes with the whole selflessness piece, but as young men who they have high character, respect for for their teammates, respect for their coaches, respect for their parents, and just, you know, willingness to grow on the court, being coached hard. And then, you know, I think they've got to be right fit for us here at Buff too, wanting to grow spiritually as well. And, you know, as that's a huge part of what we're going to do, not just in the school, but in our athletic program in that discipleship piece. So trying to identify right fit guys who are skilled, but also have those, you know, intangibles, I guess you would say, the work ethic, the attitude, the selflessness, and the coachability.
Okay. Thank you to Nathaniel Hughes for joining us today. We hope you learned something about our athletic program and our basketball team and our vision for the future. We look forward to an exciting first year of athletics, and we hope you follow along.